ground, sitting on doves. Can't lie, I was high on shrubs.
Hey guys, welcome back to Cinetopical. We are dropping microphones, but not in the good way. It's 2019 now, which means 2018 is over. We have the Oscars coming up pretty soon. But before we get there, it's worth talking about all the movies that we saw in 2018 that hopefully won't even get mentioned during award season because they were that bad. So, without further ado, here are my top 10 least favorite movies of 2018. Obviously, I don't get paid to do this, so couldn't see every single movie that came out in theaters this year. So this is just based on the ones that I did see. You can let me know which ones I missed down in the comments. But let's get started. So number 10, worst movie of the year for me, is going to be Venom. I didn't hate it. Number 9 for me is going to be Hotel Artemis. I wanted to enjoy this movie so bad. I really, really wanted it to be good, but it just wasn't. I mean, it has Jeff Goldblum in it, for Christ's sake. Number 8 for me is going to be Rampage. This is a perfect example of CGI-based movies gone bad. The humor did not stick for me at all. Dwayne Johnson's character, he acted it very well. I'm definitely not taking anything away from him and his talents, but the character itself just fell really flat. I did not find him very charismatic. He was kind of hard to pull for. I just didn't care for him a whole lot. The monsters were a little bit too much. Like, a giant wolf is really cool, but like, did we need it to be able to fly? Number 7 for me is a movie that was supposed to be bad, but not in the way that it ended up being, and that's going to be The Meg. When you go see a Jason Statham action movie, you're definitely going to have this certain level of, this is going to be a turn my brain off and just kind of enjoy some nonsense for a little bit. The Meg had an opportunity to be one of those movies that is just great because of how bad it is, but it was also just bad. Like, it wasn't that funny. Didn't expect too great of a CGI effort there, but it definitely could have been better. Mostly the movie just pissed me off because the shark ate that really, really, really tiny dog, and then it just popped back up out of the water for no reason. Screw that yappy ass dog. He should have got eaten by the shark. Number 6 for me is another huge disappointment, and it's going to be Steve Carell's Welcome to Marwen. Another movie that after seeing the trailer, I was just super high on. I could not wait to see this movie. I thought I was going to love it. It was directed by Robert Zemeckis.
That's a fact.
How could a movie by Zemeckis be that bad? And it was that bad. This guy is not likable. I understand that he was based on a real person. It was just too... He's just too much of a creep.
Am I lying?
Number 5 for me is going to be a movie that came out pretty early in the year. It's going to be Gringo. It was
terrible.
This is another movie. I heard a few people get really high on it before I saw it, and it just fell super flat with me. I felt like the pacing was terrible. The main character is just such like a spineless dweeb, and I understand that that's the point. Honestly, the only bright spot for me in this movie was the main character's brother that's like this mercenary, so he's like having these weird emotional crises while also being a complete and total badass, and they killed him way too soon. They should have had him last longer in the movie.
Gringo's a 5-star movie, 5 out of 5.
And that's a big old negative. Number 4 for me is a movie that I'll admit had me laughing the entire time that I was watching it, but again, not for the reasons that you want to be laughing at a movie, and that is going to be Bruce Willis's take on Death Wish. Woof, that movie was a
piece of garbage. It
was boxy and clunky. There were just so many like plot convenient moments in this. There's literally a scene where Bruce Willis's character decides, oh, I need a gun, and then it cuts to him at the hospital the next day, and a gun just falls out of this guy that he's operating on's pocket. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, that movie is terrible. The Rube Goldberg bowling ball, what like, get out of here. Number 3 is going to be another movie. Most of these movies, I guess, are just movies that really disappointed the shit out of me because I wanted them to be better. Number 3 for me is going to be The Sisters Brothers. Like, look at this cast. Like, there's Jake Gyllenhaal, there's Joaquin Phoenix. I like John C. Reilly when he's not with Will Ferrell. Like, this could have been a great like new age western, and it just wasn't. This movie was so boring. Like, it was just slow and drug out. It had a few moments where like the cinematography was really, really beautiful and gorgeous. A few snippets of the dialogue was really, really good. But for a movie that tried to rely so heavily on the dialogue to carry its character like narrative, it just fell flat. Like, it was boring. It was terribly paced, and it just like, there was like, the payoff in this movie was just not that great. It was just not a good movie. Number 2 for me is going to be White Boy Rick. I didn't really have any expectations for this movie, but I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, like eventually we're going to hit this like climactic point. And it just felt like flat the whole movie. Like, it did not feel like there was much of a rise and fall. I understand, again, it was based on true events, but Hollywood has taken plenty of movies based on true events that could have just been flat stories and found a way to make them compelling and interesting stories. And then you throw in the fact at the very end, they shoot all these facts at you about jail sentences for drug crimes. And I get what you're going for, and I'm not even saying I disagree with your point, but you're telling me this movie had an agenda the entire time that we watched the movie, and you didn't find any way to incorporate that in until literally the very end of the movie, where you're just like, oh hey, this is what this movie was about. It's a trap. Forget all that other stuff that is pretty much pointless, because this is the only thing that we really wanted to teach you. Not a good movie. And the number 1 worst movie that I saw this year is going to be Amy Schumer's I Feel Pretty. I did not have a lot of expectation going into this movie for obvious reasons, but it was just really bad. And the reason it was really bad is because it could have had such a good message. It really could have. I am 100% the idea that, you know, as long as you are taking care of yourself to a certain degree, you should be able to feel comfortable and unjudged in your own body and with the way you look and stuff like that. I'm all about that. I really am. My problem with this movie is that there were plenty of points that, because of Amy Schumer's specific brand of humor, they kind of just flipped it on itself to where they were really almost just kind of making fun of their own message in the movie. It was just
so fucking terrible.
It was too over the top. It was something that could have been, again, a really, really good study, an in-depth look in something that's a major problem with people. Could have been a really like healing and helpful movie for some people, but the way they handled it was just poor, and I kind of wish that she would stop making movies. Those are my least favorite movies of 2018. If there's something that you feel like should have been on my list that wasn't on my list, just know it's because I do whatever I can to not watch shitty movies, so I probably didn't go see it. But you can tell me all about how much you hated it in the comments section. As always, like and subscribe to Cinetopical. We'll see y'all next time.